As Dave Siler offers final instructions to these two championship fighters in our main event. You notice that Steven Siler, slightly taller and longer. He's a natural featherweight. Bobby King makes the cut just fine, but a lot of power at 155 pounds.
Bobby, a very athletic fighter.
You know, Bobby and I are the same age. Actually, I think 3 months older than him, and I like to use my advancing age as an excuse why I don't have abs anymore. But Bobby really flies in the face of that, because no problem for him getting in shape and staying in shape to make that cut.
It's those Hawaiian jeans, man.
I'll blame it on that from now on. Nice exchange here, and now Siler on the neck.
He's very good in
He is an
jiu-jitsu.
opportunistic submission artist, if nothing else. Steven Siler always looking to snatch a neck or an arm.
I mean, how comfortable does Steven look in there? I mean, think about how long he's been training, who he's been in there with, who he trains with. I mean, you just got to feel totally in his element here.
Well, this might be the biggest moment of Bobby King's career. This is far from the biggest moment of Steve Siler's career, and that can be advantageous or a problem depending on how these guys are approaching it. You saw there Steve Siler kicking the inside leg, compromising the balance of Bobby King, but the recovery is quick. Little switch foot, but no strike after that from King. Bobby King with the tattoo, Steve Siler, the baby face, lands that jab.
Ooh,
little clash of the heads there on the takedown attempt from Steve Siler. Both of them appear to be fine. Now King hanging heavy on the neck of Siler, and he'll go for a guillotine attempt. Jumps into the control. Siler pressing down on that left arm of Bobby King. King has to abandon the guard there.
And you're going to see Steve stay very comfortable and very relaxed in those positions.
Good work, though, by Bobby King, making Siler carry his weight.
Nice right hand on the exit out there.
Pretty measured pace here as they feel it out, but those exchanges are furious when they both engage.
This is a pro lightweight title fight, so this is 5 rounds.
Siler has obviously been in there for 5 rounds before. He lost the decision in his PFL championship. Big hook landed there for Bobby King. Siler shrugs it off, and now it's a firefight. Kick caught there by Bobby King. Siler, long history of displaying his chin in fights, not always to his advantage.
His coaches are just urging him not to get in that firefight, too.
Well, if you're Bobby King, that's probably what you want here. If you're Steve Siler, I think taking this, oh, nice return there, a little 1-2 from Bobby King. And actually it was a 2-1, if we're being technical.
It was beautiful. Dwayne Ludwig pleading with Bobby King, more of that.
Siler is deceptively long. I mean, you can kind of tell just by looking at him. He's a skinny fighter, but he has a pretty advanced reach, even here at 155 pounds, despite the fact that he fought so much at 145. Inside leg kicks exchanged by both men. Nice right hand there, and a little pop there from Bobby King. Now that's a nice feel-out punch. Next time, don't be surprised if he really sits on that straight right. Caught that time by Siler. This is what happens, the back and forth chess match between two skilled martial artists. King attempts that straight right again.
I really like the way that Siler, as he's walking him down, is cutting off the cage and trying to put him where he wants him.
King rushes forward with the right hand. Siler absorbs it and now pushes Bobby King to the cage. Double underhooks. Goes for the outside trip. Nice work by King, compromising the neck position. A good frame here. Don't be surprised to see Siler reach his arm down to Bobby King, his right arm down to Bobby King's waist and try and dump him back over his right leg. Unsuccessful in that attempt. Nice defense by Bobby King, and he landed a big shot on the downward angle. And now Steve Siler is forced to address the guard.
Now
Here
you're in
comes another
Steve's world.
guillotine. Siler's happy to work off his back, but Bobby King doing a great job of managing the position and now hanging heavy. Excellent round for Bobby King.
Both had their moments in the first round.
Absolutely. But it's got to be encouraging when you're the less experienced fighter to get into a man's area of expertise and to be just fine, if not at the advantage in those exchanges.
Holding your own, for sure. Did more than hold his own.
Court McGee there in the corner of Steve Siler, offering some advice. Dwayne Ludwig offering some encouragement to Bobby King.
So if you're in Steve Siler's corner and you're Court McGee, what adjustments are you looking for here?
Well, I want him to stay long with his jab. He does have a reach advantage over Bobby King, and the reason that Bobby's able to land 3 or 4 of those straight rights is because Siler is fighting upright and allowing his hips to get closer to Bobby King's hips than they need to be. If you're gonna walk into striking range against a guy like Bobby King, you have to be striking. Don't get into that firefight area without engaging. Start of round 2 out of a possible 5 here. Steven Siler in the gray trunks, no tattoos. Bobby King's trunks are black. He's got the ink. King coming out more active here. Nice left hook lands. And you see how he moves after he throws. Siler walking down into range here. He's got to be active if he's going to be in that target, that strike zone.
He does keep his hands fairly low as he's walking into that range, too.
Well, he's got the speed, and there it is. Bobby King landed 4 unanswered punches and moved right out. That's an excellent exchange for King. And that's what Siler needs to do. Move in behind the jab, bring the right hand behind it, maybe one of those kicks.
And on that unanswered 4 questions, Siler's waving him in, trying to invite him to that. Not exactly what his corner is asking for.
And every time you allow a striker like Bobby King to build confidence, you're asking yourself to get hurt. He goes to the southpaw stance and lands even there. So, again, you're building confidence if you're letting a guy stand opposite stance and he's still able to land. King in the southpaw stance for the last 10 or so, 15 seconds. He'll stay here for now. Throws out the right jab. Able to dump Siler to the ground. And now King goes to work on top.
Got his chin. Seems that for that guillotine.
He'll look for a mounted guillotine. Siler cannot allow Bobby King to clasp his hands. I'm not sure if Bobby recognizes that Siler no longer has that left underhook, and if he wants to, he can reach under and clasp his hands.
It's right there. He can just grab it.
That's up to his corners to tell him. Now Siler digs the underhook back in unsuccessfully. He goes to neck control.
Bobby looks really strong here in this position.
Well, and this is one of those questions about the weight class, right? Siler is more of a natural 145er. King very much comfortable at 155 pounds. Obviously the more muscular of the two as he goes to work on the legs. And he'll let Siler stand back up. Not a bad idea. Big right hand for Bobby King.
That was the exact combination that got Bobby his big knockout in his last fight. Pumping that double jab in with a big overhand right.
Even here in these grappling exchanges, which is absolutely Steven Siler's expertise, you're talking about a big, strong guy in Bobby King. It's really tough to get him down. King is a proficient grappler himself. Now, last time they were in this exact position, Siler tried to dump King backward over his own leg, and Bobby ragdolled him down to the ground. If you're Siler, that means you probably have to have a different game plan for this particular exchange.
Ref getting a little tired of Siler grabbing the fence back there.
Great head position and a nice turnaround there by Bobby King. You can see that his strength is a huge advantage here up against the cage. Very, very muscular guy, and he's using it properly, which is even more important. Siler laces his right leg all the way around Bobby King's. Now he tries to drop down to his single leg.
I mean, a lot of questions are being answered here by the first, second round. Experience and things like that.
Takedown there for Steve Siler. Can he get on top? Can he get his neck out of this guillotine attempt? Doesn't look overly tight yet. Siler works to pass into the half guard, and now his neck is relatively safe, even though King is still holding on to it.
Yeah, he's going to be careful there for that choke.
Now Siler will stay down and try and force the arm triangle. If you're Bobby King, you can't lie flat on your back, and those punches to the body, when you're on the bottom, they don't mean a dang thing.
Somebody's bleeding over there.
I think it's Siler. I don't know where it's coming from. Bobby's addressed his left arm. It's now safe. The choke is no longer available. There's a 10-second clapper, and Siler will look to finish the round on top. So Siler, with his most successful 60 or so seconds of this fight, gets King to the ground. His nose is bleeding. You can see a little bit of fatigue after dealing with what appears to be a stronger Bobby King.
So it looks like Steve did make some adjustments. Seems like a little bit better round for Steve, but, you know, if you're Bobby, you have to be feeling really good about the way that this fight's going and where it's taking place.
Absolutely. It feels like Bobby is dictating most of where this fight is happening. The striking exchanges, he's been successful. There's a replay of the big right hand. But you've got to be able to sustain it for 5 rounds. You've got to put away a guy like Steven Siler.
Well, and Bobby, remember, Bobby won the lightweight Grand Prix here for Fierce. 4 fights and $10,000 prize. So he's not unfamiliar with these 5-round fights and being ready and in shape for that. And we know Steve's ready for it. But again, the weight disadvantage, Bobby appears to be the bigger fighter and, like you said, more natural 155er versus the natural 145er.
You see some bruising on the left leg, the lead leg there of Steven Siler. Looked to be limping as he came out. King unloads 4 more punches. Each of them at least partially landed. Be interesting to see if King's corner recognizes the damage to Siler's lead leg and calls for more attacks. You see Siler pawing out the half jabs there. The half jab's not going to do it against Bobby King. Nice movement by King to avoid a real effort. Nice takedown attempt by Siler. Not set up though, and King just shoves it off.
Ooh.
Right hand just misses there for Steven Siler. King lands his hand and a left.
I will say, cage side, Steve Siler has an incredible chin. Some hard shots landing.
I've seen him weather storms that would put a lot of other guys down and come back with a submission win.
Great trip.
He was stunned there even as he went into the trip by a shovel uppercut. And now Bobby King looking for the knee bar. Doesn't have the right angle.
Nope.
Siler ends up on top.
This is exactly where Steve wants to be.
Bobby King is proficient here as he pulls he's got a single butterfly in, left leg, ready to elevate and compromise the position of Steve Siler. He's gonna make Siler work for whatever he gets here on the ground.
Steve doing a really good just driving his head into Bobby's chin and his face, making this very uncomfortable for him down there.
And here in what in a championship fight amounts to the middle round, oftentimes you can see the tides turn. So far, Steve Siler on top in an advantageous position, but yet to really affect any serious offense. He's going to need to do that if he wants to turn the tide of the fight here.
Absolutely.
Now King with a
triangle attempt, trying to get his leg over there.
Well, he's in that lockdown position. Siler's able to pull out of it, but offensive success from the bottom for Bobby King, which I don't think a lot of us would have banked on when we were looking at this fight on paper. Nice head pressure there from Steve Siler. Goes to work with his left hand on the body.
Another thing is Steve is right near his corner, letting his coaches coach him, which is always where you want to be.
Siler moves to pass. Excellent recovery by Bobby King. Continues to throw from the bottom. Pummeling the ears of Steve Siler. So he said stands these two championship competitors up. Back to the middle we go. An exhausting exchange there for both, but Bobby King looks like he perhaps is a little bit fresher afterward. Just misses with a blazing right hand.
Again, that is where Bobby is looking to close the show, is that faint double jab and then that big overhand right.
Slip there for Siler. Good sportsmanship by King, acknowledging that was just a slip. Tell you what, that tells you a lot about Bobby King.
You'd like to think you're the type of competitor that would do that, but
I am not.
I am not. But like you said, good to see the sportsmanship.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is probably he feels comfortably in the lead in this fight, and I wouldn't disagree with him if that's what he's thinking.
I mean, if you're cruising and you're winning, you don't want to win off something off of a slip, right?
I just want to win. So,
I just want to.
Again, I won't pretend to be as sportsmanly as Bobby King, but I do admire it from him. Nice left hook there from Bobby King. Siler is still here, and he's a guy you got to put away as we near the end of the third round. It appears Siler's having a little bit of trouble. Bobby King landed a right hand there just here at the end of the round. Siler having a little bit of trouble, as I was saying, pulling the trigger.
He just seems like he's just patiently waiting, and Bobby just isn't really giving him a chance to get going with any offense. It feels like he is on his heels for a majority of it. Bobby King's executing a great, effective game plan tonight.
I mean, you can't really ask for much more out of Bobby King's performance. Steven Siler is formidable on the ground. Bobby King is negating everything he's trying to do. Siler is not able to get off his offense standing for whatever reason, and King, while he has yet to land the big knockdown or knockout punch, he is very much in control of the striking exchange.
I mean, it looked like to me that he might have stunned Steven with that last exchange there a little bit.
Sure.
That first knockdown might have been very close if the bell hadn't gone when it did.
You saw the replay there of Steven Siler shooting from distance to try and take down Bobby King. That's indicative of a little bit of desperation from a guy as experienced as Steven Siler. He knows he's got to set up those takedowns, especially against the guy who's bigger and stronger.
Heading into the championship rounds here.
Round 4 out of a possible 5. Bobby King in the southpaw stance tests a body kick. Siler does not return the courtesy of letting him stand up from a slip, but I understand why, because he is trailing in this fight.
Probably 3 rounds.
And look at Bobby King working back to the cage, preventing control. Steve Siler, right now, all he's worried about is his own neck.
Hopping
and
to that guillotine.
so. Little cow catcher, and Bobby King tosses Steve Siler right to his back and goes to work with the strikes.
Wow.
Straight to the mouth.
Wow.
Siler may just be taxed out here. Here comes an armbar attempt. That's tight. Dave Selstead trying to move to the right angle so he can see a tap. There's the tap right there. Bobby King with an armbar victory.
Wow.
Submission over Steve Siler. That is no small feat. 4th round victory for Bobby King.
Doing great, man. You always make it here to the center of the cage. Another victory for you. What does this feel like?
Bittersweet for sure. Sad to see Siler go, but definitely it's time for someone else to carry the torch, and I'm glad I could be the guy to do it for him. I love Siler. He's a stud. I looked up to him for a long time, and nothing but respect for him. Hopefully it showed in the cage tonight. And, yeah.
It did, man. You had a fantastic performance. Who would you like to thank?
Man, can I grab this? Look at this. Everyone that's here, all the support, everyone that showed up, buying shirts, tickets, all the good stuff. My sensei, Dwayne, thank you for all the knowledge. My coach, Marshall, and Coach Anthony Lobato, who couldn't make it tonight, but he's my jiu-jitsu coach. No one. My arm lock coach who did it again. It's time for that belt. Yeah, here's the belt. Here we go. But yeah, it's an honor. Tonight was a special night. Sensei Dwayne came out to corner me and looked up to this guy since I was a little kid and always wanted to fight like him, and I hope tonight I stepped a little closer to his era, and it was awesome tonight. I don't know what else to say. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Sorry, Emily as well. All the shirts, everything goes to her, promotions, all that. Thank you. You're awesome.
Your 155-pound champion, ladies and gentlemen, of the Fierce Fighting Championship, Bobby King.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching Fierce Fighting Championship on YouTube. For more daily content, make sure to click that subscribe button as well as the bell so you don't miss any of our daily fights, podcast clips, highlights, as well as our full weekly podcast. If you want to tune into one of our live shows, go ahead and head over to fiercefightingchampionship.com.